All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into something huge, a fascinating prediction for how the evolution of AI could completely overhaul our society and our economy. We're going to look at a potential roadmap for one of the biggest changes in all of human history.
So let's just get right to it. The big question that's probably on your mind. It's a massive one, and it can feel pretty overwhelming. But what's cool about this explainer is it offers a really structured, phase-by-phase idea of how we might actually answer it.
And to wrap our heads around it, we're going to break it down into 3 distinct phases. We'll start with the kind of AI we have right now, then jump to a future with human-level AI, and finally, we'll explore a world with superintelligence that could literally change everything.
So here's the roadmap we're looking at. Phase 1. That's ANI is basically where we are right now, and it's expected to last up until around 2030. Then, Phase 2, AGI, is predicted to kick off right around 2030. And then, the really wild stuff, Phase 3, ASI, is projected for 2040 and beyond.
Okay, so let's dig into this first phase, which covers right now up until about 2030. You can think of this as the transition period. This is really about navigating the bumps in the road as AI starts to become a much bigger part of our working lives.
So, what exactly is ANI? Well, it stands for Artificial Narrow Intelligence. Think of it as specialist AI. You know the generative AI we're all using today? It's amazing at one thing like writing or making images, but that's it. During this phase, humans are definitely still running the show, but we're already seeing those first waves of automation hitting administrative and other routine jobs.
Okay, so if jobs are being automated, what happens to people? How do we live? Well, in this model, the idea here is that the government steps in to create a kind of safety net. That means things like extending unemployment benefits to give people more of a cushion and providing government grants so people can retrain for new kinds of jobs that work alongside AI.
Right, but the big question is always, who pays for all this? The plan here relies on brand new streams of tax revenue. First up, a digital service tax, targeting the huge profits of the big AI companies. And second, a more progressive corporate tax system, where the companies that are raking in massive profits from AI, well, they chip in more.
Okay, but that's just the warm-up. What happens when AI isn't just a smart tool anymore? What happens when it gets as smart as us? Let's jump to the AGI phase, which could start around 2030, and see how this sparks a full-blown revolution.
This is where things get wild. We're talking about AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, and this is a total game changer. This isn't AI that's good at one thing. This is AI with human-level intelligence across the board. When you pair that brain with advanced robotics, basically almost any job a human can do, cognitive or physical, AGI could do it too. And that leads to this, a complete flip of our entire economic model. We go from a world where we humans work to earn money and pay taxes to a world where AI does the earning, and the government's main job becomes distributing that wealth to everybody. Just let that sink in for a second. So how does that distribution actually work? The proposal is this really cool 2-part system. First, you've got UBI, or Universal Basic Income. That's just straight cash, regular payments to every single person. And you pair that with UBS, which is Universal Basic Services, making sure everyone gets the essentials for free.
And when we say universal basic services, we're not talking about small stuff. We're talking about the absolute cornerstones of a good life. Things like housing, healthcare, education, electricity, and transportation, all provided for free. I mean, can you imagine how much that would lower the cost of living for everyone?
Okay, again, how is this all funded? It's going to take some really creative new ways of thinking about taxes. For starters, an AI and robot tax on the value AI adds when it replaces a human worker. Then there's a sovereign wealth fund. Think of it like a government-run investment fund that owns stakes in AGI companies and passes the profits to the public. And finally, a data usage tax, charging companies for using our data, the very data that made the AGI so smart in the first place. All right, if you thought AGI was mind-bending, hold on. Let's look at even further out, to what might happen around 2040 and beyond. This is the most speculative part of the journey, but it's also the most incredible, the age of artificial superintelligence.
We're talking about ASI, Artificial Superintelligence. This is an intellect so far beyond any human brain, it's almost impossible for us to even imagine. We're talking smarter than all of humanity combined, with the ability to do things like manipulate matter at the atomic level. And with that kind of power comes a possibility that just sounds, well, insane. We enter an era of post-scarcity. I mean, if you can create literally anything you need on the spot, why would you even need money anymore? The whole concept just disappears. So,
How on earth is that even possible? It sounds like magic, right? Well, it relies on a few pieces of breakthrough tech. First, an ASI could perfectly figure out how to allocate every resource we need. Then, imagine tiny, self-directing nanorobots that can literally build anything you need, molecule by molecule. And all of this would be powered by a near-infinite source of clean energy, something like room temperature fuel.
So, if survival is taken care of, what's left for us to do? What's the point? Our entire focus as a species would shift. We'd finally be free to focus on what it actually means to be human. Things like creativity, art, philosophy, community, and just exploring the universe. The struggle to survive is replaced by the search for purpose.
Okay, let's pull back for a second and look at the whole journey from start to finish. It's an incredible transformation when you see it all laid out.
This table does a perfect job of laying it all out. Just look at the progression here. For life support, we go from unemployment checks to a full UBI and UBS system to basically having everything we need automatically provided. The government's funding job goes from normal taxes to managing AI wealth to eventually not needing money at all. And the most important part, what we do, goes from retraining for jobs to focusing on ourselves and our relationships, and finally, to just figuring out the meaning of it all.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? What's the real challenge? It's not about building the AI. The tech is coming. The real fight is going to be a political and legal one. The single biggest challenge we face is creating the laws and systems to make sure that the unbelievable wealth created by AI doesn't just go to a handful of companies, but gets shared with all of humanity.
And that really leaves us with one final, huge question to chew on. If AI was trained on all of our data, our art, our writing, our history, then didn't we all help create it? If our collective data is what makes AI smart, don't we, as a species, have a claim to the wealth it creates? What does ownership even mean in a future like that? Thanks for watching.